Hey peeps, thanks for tuning in and watching this video. I wanted to give you a little bit of insight into how shops take more money from you than you plan on spending. And this is one of the really important factors of losing weight and actually changing the way you eat, because a lot of people don't realize, but half of the problem we have with overeating is just the fact that we've got the food in our house in the first place. And if we have less stuff that we don't need in our houses, we're less likely to eat that kind of stuff. And so I wanted to give you a little bit of insight into retail theory so that you're better equipped to shop when you understand what a shop is trying to do to you to make you spend more money. So there is this shopping dilemma. And last year, during the pandemic and lockdown, there was this documentary that dropped called The Social Dilemma. And the social dilemma was really about how social media and web applications are taking our attention away from the things that actually matter in life. And even though they say they're trying to make us more connected, they're actually disconnecting us from the world. Now, money is obviously what enables us to do all of the things we like in life. And one of the things that we do is we spend money on stuff that we don't need to impress people we don't like. That's like the classic line. But when it comes to actually doing the shopping, it's really important to realize that the reason we get home and we've got all the stuff that we don't need is not actually our fault. There's some biology behind it and there's some science behind it, and we are often competing against a machine that's much more powerful and better equipped than we are, which is called the shop machine or the supermarket. So I want to teach you a little bit of that theory so that you're more empowered the next time you go shopping. So a big shop is influenced by this thing called decision fatigue. And decision fatigue and willpower are basically the same thing, because willpower really is your ability to make the right decision or a better decision all the time. And so even if you're sitting there next to a chocolate and not eating the chocolate for 2 hours, you are actually constantly deciding that you are not going to eat the chocolate. And so this graph of decision fatigue shows what a day could look like. So in the first hour of the day, when you haven't made any decisions, your ability to make a great quality decision is quite high. Whereas as you make more and more decisions throughout the day, the quality of your decision making deteriorates. And so the exact same way willpower works, well, willpower works in the exact same way, in that as you go through the day, you have less and less willpower. And so the first little tip, if you go shopping in the evening and you've just had a whole day of decision making, you're going to be tired and you're going to make worse decisions. Okay, so that's the first thing I want you to remember before we go into the next part. The second thing is about this study called the water bottle experiment. In James Clear's book, Atomic Habits, he talks about it. And what he did was, well, he didn't do this. He was just writing about the study. But what they did was a study on a canteen. And they wanted to see why people weren't drinking water, even if they had it available. And so in the first canteen diagram, you can see the black squares are fridges that have water bottles in them. And so they just monitored this canteen for a while, and they saw how much water they were, the canteen was selling. Then they put a whole bunch more fridges full of water into the canteen. So they took whatever was in these fridges out and they replaced it with water. And what they found was after the same amount of time, that shop was selling 30% more water. In other words, what they proved was that if you put stuff in front of people and you make it obvious for them to buy, they will buy it. And that is like the science of merchandising. So when you go into a store, you are having stuff put in front of you, and the more stuff that gets put in front of you, the more likely you are to buy it. So the reason I started this presentation with "you are a pinball in a shop" is that the shop is designed to move you around the store. You don't go in and get what you want. The shop plans your journey for you, and you're being hit around. And as you get hit around the shop is scoring points. And even though you might not buy the first 50 or 100 things that are promoted to you, all of those decisions where you say, no, I'm not going to buy that. No, I'm not going to take this deal. No, I'm not going to take that deal. Every single thing you decide not to buy is a decision. And eventually it's going to wear you out thin. So after an hour of shopping, your decision fatigue is high, which means the quality of your decision making is low. And I'm going to show you exactly how the shops do it. So this is a standard store layout. In fact, this someone else someone else made scribbles on this before I took the diagram. And what you can see here is, and I'm going to bring in my little pinball here. There's my pinball. And so what you can see is good smells and views. So the first thing that happens when you walk into any supermarket, and if you agree with me, leave a comment, because I'd love to hear your feedback here. That you walk into a supermarket and you see beautiful fresh produce and beautiful flowers. So it smells nice, it looks colorful, and so you've already been primed, and that starts getting your appetite working. And then you walk through the store and you go through your produce, you get some basics. Then you get hit with the bakery, the seafood, the meat, and all the way at the back of the store, you'll get the dairy. Now, I have never seen a supermarket where the dairy was not at the back of the store. And I'll explain why. Everyone needs either butter, eggs, or dairy. So if you are vegan, you're very lucky, because everything you need to get in the store is like right here, and then you can actually leave. But it's very unlikely, because you will have to be pulled through this whole store to get to the checkout. It's very difficult to walk straight into a shop and walk to the checkout for this exact reason. They want to hammer you with all of the promoting of absolutely everything, so that by the time you get to the end where your treats come up, so your treats would be wine and spirits, your willpower has dwindled, you are fatigued at making decisions, and you start to buy stuff. Okay, and then eventually you arrive at the checkout and you're home free. Now, this is a classic store design, and if you don't believe me, I took a few more just to show you. So here it is again. You walk in, you see the flowers, the produce, seafood, meat, dairy, wine and spirits. Now, by this point, you've already been hammered a lot. Bakery, you're going to get some new smells, freshly baked bread, tasters of the donut or the cinnamon twirl or whatever. And then, because you've seen all of this food in its raw state, it's all looked brilliant, now they're going to hit you with deli, which is prepared food. So hang on, you've bought all this produce, now you're going to go home and have to do work. The good news is we've already prepared some of this food for you right here. Take it with you. So you add that to your trolley. Again, this one is even more blatant about it. So flowers, produce, bakery, dairy, back of the store. Okay, they swap meat around. Seafood, grab and go. The deli is there again. But look here, it says here, impulse buy. So this is now where you've bought the bulk of your shop and you're waiting. In South Africa, we call this temptation aisle. So this is where you're standing, waiting for your turn in the queue. And on your left and your right, there's just chocolates, sweets, and chocolates and sweets. And eventually you just see a five rand or $1 purchase here, and you just start filling them into your basket. So that's how it works. And there's another store exactly the same. In fact, in this one, I didn't even have to show you how it goes. They've actually planned the customer's route the whole way through. Okay, and there's another example. So this is, I'm not making this stuff up. This is science. This is how every single retailer does it. Dairy is always on the other end from the entrance to the store, because that's how they know they're going to get you to spend the most money. You cannot buy milk without saying no to 1,000 other things in the shop. And if you just hop onto Google and you Google this, you will see like millions of stores. So I'm going to get into a whole lot more theory at a later stage with all the other things that make you spend money in a shop and make you buy things that you don't want. But the first thing to understand is that the store in itself, the way it is designed to guide you through the store. You are not shopping. The shop is selling, and that's really important for you to know. And that's why the store always wins. These guys are experts. And so even though it looks static and it doesn't feel like anyone is aggressively selling to you, everything that is positioned anywhere in the store is designed to catch your attention and tempt you, because after enough beating, eventually you will give in and buy at least one or two more things than you intended on buying. And so how can you beat the system? We're going to go into much more detail over the next few months about this, but just to start off, give you a few tips. The first thing you can do is shop online. If you can shop online, you will find that you have much better control over your budget. Even though they do this to a degree on the internet, they do send banners that say, oh, people who bought this, bought that. If you can shop online, you will have more control. Another thing you can do online is also repeat your order. I know that in South Africa, if you shop with Woolies, you can just repeat the order that you had last time, because the less time you spend going in to look what's in there, the less temptation you'll have to fill your basket and have stuff that you don't need. Then the other thing you can do is shop as early as possible in the day. Shop when you've still got all of your willpower, when you haven't wasted it on a whole lot of useless decisions. So the worst time to shop is like a Thursday evening or Friday afternoon after like a hard week of work, when you are broken, exhausted. Don't like nip in and do your big weekly shop on like a Thursday evening. That's when you're going to be like the most susceptible to terrible decision making. And finally, just being aware. Even watching this video has now let you know what the store's trying to do. And so when you go into the store, don't be fooled. The reason the flowers are beautiful, sometimes they just spray flower scent, out of the ducts so that you feel like you're surrounded by beautiful smelling flowers, but you're not. So just remember, everything that's there is designed to look beautiful because they want you to buy it. It's not designed to look beautiful so that it feels like a nice shopping experience. They want you to spend money, and it's your money versus their money. And you win at life if you get to keep your money and buy less stuff. That's the bottom line. So be aware, shop as early as you can, and if you can, shop online. Those are my 3 hacks for the day on how to win at shopping. So don't be the ball in the machine. Be the machine who breaks the shops. Okay, have a goodie, keep it real, bye.